I never, ever would have thought Christian Bale could play a villain. Holy shit. He stole the whole movie.
American Psycho, man. What are you talking about?
I've never seen it. I know the gist.
Well, he plays villain in that, and he does a very good job of it. So
yeah,
I definitely knew he could play a villain. He's also kind of an asshole in real life. So all you have to do is be yourself. My biggest problem with the Thor movies, the new Thor movies.
Wait, give me 1 second. I gotta unplug my microphone. It's doing something weird.
Yeah, sure. Just ruin the spot. Just start the bit and then interrupt it for your own personal shit. That's fine. That's fine. It's not like I was building to something. That's fine. I'll just sit here, forget what I was talking about. That's okay. I'll just play with this fucking box over here. Just fiddle with this. Just fiddle with this box here. What do we got in here? Oh, that's what happened to the painter's tape. Now I know. Now I know what happened to the painter's tape. My kid did something with it. Now I wonder where it stuck to, because there's like a whole roll of painter's tape that was on this, so it's going to be stuck somewhere.
I'm back now.
Oh, you are? Okay. All right.
Sorry, you were saying. I realized that my microphone mount was loose, and it was like pulling on my cable. I'm like, ooh, I'm damaging the thing here. Let me fix that real quick.
Oh, so we're still talking about your shit.
No, we can talk about Christian Bale being a villain.
Time to get your fix. It's a horrible gaming podcast. It's not good, it's not great. Horrible gaming podcast. It's not even what you would call fair. It's really not that good. Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Hello, my name is Zachariah with Old Man Gaming, and you, dear listener, have decided for whatever reason to tune into another Horrible Gaming Podcast. I am not alone. Mostly I am never alone. With me is
Neil, a.k.a. a tiny wizard.
Yeah, and we're going to have a fun show. I mean, by that I mean I'm going to have a fun show, and you guys are going to be sick about the thing that I'm talking about. But, and I'll give you a hint, it's not Starfield or Sonic, so know what it's about now. Yeah. There's 3 things we've been talking about constantly. So, yeah. So, other than that, we got to thank some people before we get into this stuff. Unless you've already tuned out because you know what we're about to talk about, which in that case I understand. Number one, but behind our ugly mugs, you're seeing a fancy graphic that was supplied to us by Mr. Mark Bell. He does all of the graphics here at OMG. And then, of course, the theme song for this show and all of the shows here at Old Man Gaming is provided by my brother, the man who makes the music, Nick Van Sliders. We thank him for that.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, so that brings us to our first segment, and of course, our most important segment, that is Fanteraction. Where'd my phone go? I completely forgot to start my stopwatch. Sweet. Okay. All
right, I got one.
So Fanteraction is where we talk to you guys, the fans, us, the co-hosts. We read your comments on the YouTube, the Discord, and wherever else we find them, and remember to read them. So this week we had, I think, 5 comments. 1, 2, 3. This is
1, 2, 3.
4 comments. 4 comments. We got 4 comments. No, 5 comments. 5 comments. Sorry.
Do I hear 6 comments?
No, just 5. Just 5. All right. So Backdraft chimed in.
Comment number 6 enters the ring.
Blizzard is a cancer in the gaming industry. I don't think anything else to be said about that. You are correct.
Yeah.
No disagreements here. Backdraft then said, yay, Wildermyth, to me and Philbilly saying we are going to get back on the Wildermyth horse soon. We are. I was just talking off camera. We have 1 episode left before we're 8 ahead, before I even air the first one of the live wrestling show. We'll slow down on that, which will allow me to do some more streams, one of which being the Wildermyth stream with Philbilly, and then the other, of course, being Firefight, the Halo Firefight with you and Kayla, which I love doing. Then we get to William Hohen. Hi! Exclamation point. There it is. Phil got 4 hours of prep time? Man, that's a lot more than you gave Melissa. It is a lot more than I gave Melissa. A lot more. About mobile games, there's a bunch of fantastic one-time purchase games on mobile. It's hard finding them. You have to weed out a lot of garbage, but there's many. Stuff like Dismantle, Songbringer, Cyrilim, Grim Valor, Bastion, Watcher Chronicles, Ninth Dawn. Okay, I'll stop. If you need more, just ask. That's all I have. Thanks for now. Hashtag no moving. I cannot sing that out for some reason. No moving ever again. No moving ever again. Yeah.
No moving ever again.
Indeed, Will. Thank you for your comments, sir. I can't bring myself to buy a game on my phone. I just can't. I can't pay money to buy a mobile game. Even if it's good, I'm sure there are ones that are good out there. I do not disagree with your statement at all. I cannot bring myself to spend money on games on my phone.
I have only for games that I already know that I like the original Sonic 2 are on mobile platforms. I use them with my my Kishi Symphony of the Night. Same situation.
That would be cool. Yeah, that would be cool.
It was very nice. Playing with touch controls is a nightmare, but I also do this thing on my phone. It's called it's Google Opinion Rewards. Basically, it sends you a little survey asking if you've watched a YouTube video or something, which chances are it's something I've watched.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, hey, did you watch this? Why did you watch it? Did you like it? Okay. And they give you 25 cents of Google Play reward money. And you can use that for whatever. I currently have $21. So I just...
So you could just do that, yeah.
That's what I did. Symphony of the Night, Final Fantasy VII, the Sonic games, I have those. They've all been downloaded with that.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. That is awesome, man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Silent 66. Not the first time Elden Ring has had some lazy boss designs. Surprised no one mentions the second half of Elden Ring was almost copy and paste of the first half, and fatigue takes over. Elden Ring is the easiest From Software game made, in my opinion. Sounds like I hated Elden Ring. I don't. Great game. Well, I mean, here's the thing. Certain games... Now, look, I think Elden Ring is objectively a good game. I have not played it. Objectively, I think it's got to be good. Just from what everybody's saying. So I don't... that being said, though, there are certain games that come out, and the idea of insulting them or pointing out their flaws is blasphemy. And I think some of that comes from the fact that so many AAA games come out busted or broken or buggy or whatever, that when a game comes out and it's decent and good and what everybody who wanted to get it wanted out of it, that anybody who knocks it gets attacked. And I think that's Elden Ring is this year's that, basically. It's lofted on a pedestal that might be higher than it necessarily deserves because it was exactly what everybody wanted and exactly what everybody expected instead of a big letdown. It's still great game, not insulting the game. I just think on a whole, you get these games every once in a while where it's if you talk bad about them, you have to have a 5-year window before you start talking shit on them,
Yeah, that's a lot of FromSoft. It's the same situation. Yeah. I mean, it's if you talk bad or even if it's something along the lines of, man, it's too hard for me or something like that, you get flooded with the get goods and all that stupid shit. And it's just so toxic.
Yeah.
This toxic gatekeeping, well, if you can't X, Y, and Z, you're not a real fan, right. Shit like that. And there's a lot of communities have that. A lot of games have that. Not all of them. I mean, there is to some degree, but right. Some of them are more known for it than others.
Yeah.
And that is the FromSoft community is known for that toxicity.
Hey, man, Monster Hunter community is, and I know that from fucking experience. Fuck those guys. Fuck every last one of them to the day I die. All right, so moving on. That's right. Push on me, motherfuckers. I will push back just as hard. Asylum 66. Glass cannon builds are the only builds. I don't know if I agree with that. I do like a game where like I am able to build stupid builds. where it's like, oh, I do this dumb thing and somehow I'm invincible, you know? But yeah, I mean, however you want to build your characters, how you want to build your character. That's it for fan traction. Nice and quick, which is probably good because I think odds and ends is going to be long today with the two
Yes,
that
it
I have.
is. It most certainly is. I think I have 10, 11,
Oh,
something
Jesus,
ridiculous
Neil.
like that.
Jesus.
I got 2 weeks worth of them.
I have 4, and 2 of them are long.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Odds and ends are
All
probably
right, well, let's get into that talking point then. And in case you guys haven't guessed, it's fucking Skull and Bones. YAR!
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. What are we talking about tonight? We are talking about Skull and Bones. So Ubisoft did an Ubisoft Forward, because all of their streams are apparently supposed to be called that, but whatever, on Skull and Bones. That's right. This game that's been in development for 8 years or some shit like that. It's been restarted multiple times, canceled multiple times, just in limbo, development hell multiple times. And I just, before we get into this, I feel like there was an internet personality, maybe not a well-known internet personality, maybe somebody with somewhere around 325 subscribers, who maybe on a podcast maybe a month ago said, you know what, they leaked some stuff, and I bet you it's going to come and release this year near the holiday season. I don't know. Who was that, Neil? Do you remember who that was? Really attractive, you know, salt and pepper hair. He's growing out a beard for a silly commercial. I can't remember. Phantom of the Opera picture behind him. It was me, motherfuckers. That's right. Me. I predicted it. It was right. Yes. Called it. I called this. I called this 100%. Give me my ego moment. I said it. The minute that shit leaked, I was like, this is coming out this year. It's coming out end of October. Called it. Congratulate me before we continue.
I was getting there. I didn't know if you were actually going to wait for our congratulations. I didn't know it was that serious. But
No. I'm just
yes,
playing.
Sir. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Predicting the future wherein a thing leaks and soon it gets revealed.
Yeah.
A round of applause for you.
No, I heard that sarcastic bullshit in there. Nobody thought it was coming this year.
Let's be real. Let's just get ahead of this part of it right now. I mean, if you've followed this podcast series, we have talked so much fucking shit on
this game. The fact I'm going to say this right now. How good it looks surprises me. Yeah, how good it looks surprises me with how much shit we've talked on this game. I want to get out ahead of this right now because my excitement for this that started with the whole leak has been purely a bit. Maybe people didn't realize that or not, but my excitement for it was purely like a bit. Like it was purely like ha, it's coming out, I gotta own it, you know, that sort of thing. I'm 180 on this. I'm very excited for this to come out now. The reveal was flawless as far as what they needed to show and what they told us. There's definitely some things that I was kind of expecting that I'm not getting with this game, which we'll talk about too. But the messaging was good. They didn't lie to me. I was very happy with this reveal. Very happy.
They didn't lie to you yet.
This is correct. However, let's talk about some reveals in the past. Like, if we're just talking, let's do this first. Let's do this first before we get into the meat and potatoes of the game. Reveal-wise, right? Bethesda lied to us right off the bat in their Starfield, to the point where they had to go on IGN and do an interview about how they lied to us in the fucking 15-minute reveal that they did 2 days prior. Like, that shit bothers me. You know, they said things in that couldn't possibly be in that. With this reveal, with this stream, here's what they did, okay? They, first of all, first of all, anybody who turned it on live and they turned it on early for their pre-warm-up, their 15 minutes before the stream started, they just showed this weird video of this dude carving a boat figurehead out of wood to music, to background music. I'm not even kidding you. And it was the weirdest, craziest thing I've ever seen be the 15-minute lead up to the show. After that, we get into the show. We had this dude. He's overly happy to talk to us because that's always the way it is. He shows us a trailer, a cinematic trailer. And I'm thinking, ugh, is this all we're going to get? Because if this is all we're going to get, I'm going to be real sad. It was like a 3-minute cinematic trailer. It was a good trailer, but it was still like, that didn't tell me anything. Then he sat down with 2 creators, the game director, and then I think the social team director, something like that, talked about the game a little bit. Okay, that's fine, but now I'm starting to feel a little weary. Now I'm starting to feel like this is one of those, we all drink coffee while they show concept art bullshit. Then they showed an 8-minute, nearly 8-minute gameplay reveal trailer, which, do you remember when I showed that, when I posted the leaked video, and then you didn't get to see it?
Because it was taken down, yeah.
That was it.
That was it?
That was the exact video,
okay.
Just with more words on the screen. That's all it was. It was the exact, I was like, which was kind of a bummer for me, because I'm like, okay, this is the thing that got me hyped in the first place. I've already seen this, but okay, fine, you show that. So they did an 8-minute video of that. Then they jumped back in with the content creator for it. Like, basically, because this is a games as a service, they're going to keep making content. He immediately started talking about the content that they're going to be coming out with and what their plans are. But he was very concise on what this game was. He didn't lie. He didn't obfuscate. He didn't try to find a new name for games as a service. He straight up said it multiple times. He's like, this is a games as a service. We made it for you guys. We made it with you guys in mind. This is what you're going to get. Then they switched over to a 30-minute live play stream with the game director and this other guy who's going to be hosting their like regular whatever. It's called On Deck or whatever. It's a regular, like, it's basically a development diary of it. They just played it for 30 minutes. They just played the game for 30 minutes. I'm going to clap my hands, okay? Because I wish every developer would do this. They showed me a cinematic trailer to get me hyped. They talked to the people behind it. They did not lie to me about anything, at least right up front. They didn't skirt around anything that might be buzzwords. They showed me a gameplay reveal, which, granted, was already leaked, but it was a gameplay reveal that gave you a pretty good idea of what was in the game. They talked to another guy who did not lie to me, who told me straight up what we were to expect, and then they just played the fucking game for me, and I got to watch them play the game. That was perfect. If every fucking game company would do that, and look, I'm not an Ubisoft fan. I like Ubisoft games, but as a company, they're shit. All the big companies are shit. I'm not saying they're good, but I'm saying objectively from like how they present video games to the gamers before they come out, this is the way they all need to do it, okay? We didn't see anything other than that leak until this. When they showed us this, it was exactly what it needed to be. This is what this game is. Here, watch us play it. It comes out in 5 months. That is what every company should do from here on out, period. Do you see what I'm saying now about just like the...
Yeah, I mean, I only watched that like 7.5-minute video thing.
Disappointment.
I know.
You started this Skull and Bone train. I just want to point that out. I had written it off a long time ago, and you kept bringing it up. Now I'm the one who's got to cover it.
It's a joke to me. I didn't actually.
It's not a joke anymore.
It's not a joke anymore. That's true.
It's the best joke on you right there. Like they pulled a fast one on you, man.
It definitely looks good for sure. Now as for like all the stuff that you've said, like with them being upfront and everything, like, hey, this is a live service game, everything like that. That's great that they're getting ahead of that, because like you've mentioned, like if they start like twisting words and saying, well, this is a multiplayer event focused,
right?
Blah blah blah. Like, shut the fuck up. It's a live service game. Like, and I don't think we really expected anything else from it either. So it would have been really rough had they tried to spin it. And I don't think they can afford to try to spin anything or anything like that, because the one thing that I remember I had mentioned to you after you had shared all the stuff on the day of the stream with me is I'm really now just really curious as to how this game is going to come out and how it's going to be received, because they have to have their ass on the line with this one, or somebody's ass on the line, because this game was originally started development after Assassin's Creed 4.
Yeah. I think that I agree with you, because I think this is the only thing Ubisoft Singapore has been working on since then.
It has to.
Like, I think this is it, which means that, like, this studio has to make money off this. That being said, there's definitely some things in here that you're not going to like. I could tell that right from the video.
Oh, I already knew watching just the gameplay overview thing.
Yeah, like, there was definitely some things that I was like, okay, there's certain players who aren't going to like this. There are some things that I feel like that they put in that would definitely be more enticing to players like you, though. I really enjoyed that they said everything can be done solo. Like, they're like, hey, it'll be easier with other players, but you can do it all by yourself if you want, no problem. Obviously, there's no campaign. They've said that repeatedly. There's no story-driven campaign or anything. This is a moment-to-moment, make-your-own-story sort of game, which is right up my alley. That kind of thing excites me. I don't want to be, like, shoehorned into a narrative. I would rather make the narrative myself. There's a couple other things they didn't show that I would like to see. Obviously, they have some sort of character creator, because the two people playing the game later had two very different looking characters. I'd like to see what that is, and I'd really like to see what the microtransactions are going to be here. I think that's the only thing that they really didn't touch on. They didn't talk one way or the other about it, which that could burn. That could really burn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be the only thing that took away from this for me, is them not straight up, telling us about that. I mean, the other thing is, like, why would they mention it now anyway, aside from anything? But, like, depending on how they do the microtransactions and that could hurt them. That all being said, I think that still just, like, the presentation of this, I mean, do we want to talk about the negatives that I saw in it or the positives? Like,
let's go with the positives first, because, I mean, that's typically the way we try to go. I know the only one that I really had was it does look really pretty.
It looks really absolutely beautiful. I love they got so crazy with the ship design too. And you didn't see this in the trailer because I watched that whole live play stream because I wanted to see what this game was all about. That live play stream, you can have like crazy rockets on your ship and all sorts of weird ass nut job guns. One dude was rocking this giant cannon that shot just like a wall of flame off the front end of his boat. So he would just like drive in and set people on fire. And I was like, that is fucking cool. Like, so they're taking it and they're like making it even more like not fantasy, but you know what I mean? Like getting really creative with that side of that. I thought that was really cool. From a games as service player, which I kind of am. And like not all games as service, but I definitely have more experience in it than you. Not meaning offense there.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
There is one small feature that they did in the live play that really excited me, and that was sharing contracts. So like in live service games, often you'll be like, oh, I'm going to help this guy do this thing. But you don't necessarily get as much rewards as the other person, you know? Also, like, you don't get the, like, achievements or maybe the progression points or anything. With this, if I take a contract, I can literally just send you a little invite that says I'm sharing the contract with you. And then you can take that contract and we can both accomplish it together without, like, both of our boats count as the same fleet for that specific mission, which I think is really cool that they did that right off the bat. I liked the combat. I also like the fact that you get your own ship, you get NPC players. The sailing looks really fun. I love that there is just standard multiplayer. Like, you could play it solo and with multiplayer, which always really speaks to me because I have a lot of people I like to play with, but I also like to play games myself to experience them, and I can do both with this, which is really nice. And the PvP looked interesting. It actually looked interesting when it happened. Another positive, they said, you don't have to opt into PvP servers. They did say that. So that means that you can go on to servers that don't have a bunch of players running around trolling people. Really awesome. You can't do that on Sea of Thieves. In fact, it's all about trolling people on Sea of Thieves. So very excited about that. Obviously, it's pretty. The customization is cool. All of those things really equal awesome to me. I like the wide variety of activities you could do, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's my positive. Do you have any positives, or do you want me to go into my negatives?
I mean, like I said, it did look like it was pretty. And, I don't know what I was expecting from this game, but it does look like you get to, like, get off the ship and go around and, like, go to, like, random islands to find treasure and shit like that. So, I mean, that's cool. That looks cool.
You're actually speaking to my negative here. I don't... That's one thing. There's
what the fuck are we? You and I. What is this dynamic?
What do you mean?
It's always so weird whenever we're talking about shit like this.
Well,
it's always so weird. The shit that you love, I hate, and the shit that I think that it's gonna be, hey, we're gonna be on the same page. It's like, you know what, man? I don't know.
No. First of all, you're misunderstanding me. While it is totally like that with us quite often, and then somehow we're still friends and don't hate each other. It's surprising. But no, I think you misunderstood some stuff is what I was saying, because that was a big thing I had with the gameplay reveal, is when I watched it back, I was like, how much actual on-foot time is there, in this game? I don't think there's any combat on foot, period. I don't think there's really any of that, man. And I think that you're on foot when you're in the cities. I think there's going to be certain islands which you can do a little exploring, but I don't think there's going to be any fighting in it, because there's no boarding fighting in this. You do a boarding maneuver, you get an animation where your crew jumps on, kills a bunch of people, and then that's it.
Oh, you're not like...
Yeah, it's all about the ships in this. It really is. That's what I was trying to say. I wasn't necessarily disagreeing with you. I was saying that I think you have it a little wrong.
That is so unfortunate. You know what?
And that's been a big...
I guess then that's a little thing that I have to say on the negatives then, because I literally, I told you, I watched that gameplay reveal, like that little 8-minute thing, literally like 5 minutes before we got on this call.
I know.
And I was seeing that. I'm like, oh wow, you can actually like get off and run around on islands and like, oh, you can board ships. Oh yeah, let me jump on and try and take out the captain on the ship. No, it's just you executed the board function. You did it before the other person, and now you win.
Okay, so like, hear me out though, and that was one of my negatives too. That's what I was trying. I was trying to correct you because I got to watch the 30-minute play to see what this game is, and I'm like, okay, there can't be that much running around now that I've seen it. Remember when I messaged you after the gameplay review and I was like, this leaves a lot of questions for me?
Yeah.
A lot of them were answered when I watched the live stream. One of my questions was straight up, like, how much walking around is there? You create a character, but like the boat is really your character for most of the game. It's much more like an open world boat game than it is an open world person game. You do, like I said, there are definitely going to be islands where you explore certain things, but I don't know how much like combat, because even the hunting, like, you know how they pointed out the hunting? All of the things you hunt are water based. You hunt them from the boat. You don't hunt them from land. There's no land-based hunting in this. So, like, there's no land-based combat, I don't think. And that was one thing I liked from watching the stream, because I was like, okay, now I have a really good idea of what this is. And in their defense, okay, in their defense, the way combat works in the boat, at least for the boarding actions, you could not do boarding. You couldn't do it because there's just too many ships shooting shit at you at any one given time, you and your friends, that if you had to like go to third person, jump onto the other boat, kill a bunch of people, like you would get sunk. You would get destroyed. You would not be able to take on more than one boat at a time because you would get murdered by them. Like, just the way the combat works once you watch that live stream, especially with other players, if you're on a PvP stream, there's no fucking way. Because they were on a PvP stream with other creators, because only the creators have access to it right now. And basically, while they were in a mission, a bunch of creators just who didn't even know they were live stream were just testing the game randomly, tried to sync them to take their shit. so like you couldn't do it if the boarding. Even with the boarding that they had, the boarding animation that they had, and the quick menu that comes up that you have to like select what you take, somebody took a ton of damage in that because he did it at the wrong time, and like other ships were bombarding him while that animation was going on. So like there's no way you could do third person boarding with the way this combat is set up.
Well, that is very unfortunate.
It is. It is.
That is what I gathered. Having not watched anything else, if that was all I saw, which is what it was very much billed as this is a big open ocean area. Go to the places, get the map, go find treasure on an island.
Well, and that's the thing. That was something I noticed from that gameplay reveal, though. If you go back and watch it again, because this was my second time watching it on the stream, and then I noticed like they're mining all their like equipment for crafting and stuff from the ship. They would sail up to an island, and then you'd see like you'd see like the people taking down trees, but you were still on the boat, like you were docked. You know what I mean? Taking down trees. And I was like, wait a second. If there's a mechanic in this to mine the equipment from the island, they don't have a way for them to be on shore. They don't. There's just no way they have a way for them to be on shore. So I think there are definitely specific points where you go third person. I think they're mostly going to be like puzzle situations or like finding something situations. And while I still think they will be fun, the hell is that? Uh-oh.
Weird.
Yeah, it's my kid. Hi, kiddo. Hi. You okay? What's wrong? Okay, I see what's wrong. Hey, I gotta pause for a second, okay? We'll be right back, all right? Sorry, everybody out there. Yeah, you just saw me run away and come back. I apologize for that. I think we were still talking about the negative of no people. I do want to say this is the biggest criticism they received online is a lot of people are like, you canceled this game and put this game into limbo so many times and there's no way for us to like there's no land-based gameplay. Like this is still sea-based gameplay and it took this long to make.
I get it. It's a game about pirate ships, but like it's about pirates too. Like it's a little bit of both. You can't just focus on one element and basically straight up ignore the other.
Well, the thing is when you really look at this game's development and where it came from, it was originally billed as basically like a 5v5 shooter. Like it was, you each got to pick a ship. There was 5 ships versus 5 ships, and that's what it was. It was supposed to be a deathmatch sort of game. Almost like a Star Wars Squadrons sort of thing. And then they turned this into an open world. So kind of from that standpoint, I feel like I see the bones of that, you know, and is what this is built on.
The skull and bones, so to say.
No. I'm not even going to give you a chuckle. I think that overall, we're looking at, sorry for the belches, everybody. I ate French pizza for dinner. Overall, I am still very excited about this game. I am excited to. I'm interested to see what the land-based part of this ends up being. I am sure that we're going to get one of those on-deck development diary things on the land-based stuff so that we can really delve into that. Still, that's the only negative for me. I think that that it looked beautiful. There's still a lot of interesting gameplay here, a lot of interesting world stuff. I think that the combat from ship to ship looks phenomenal. Like that 30-minute live stream was like just a blast to watch. So like I think that overall it's still going to be an interesting game. I am very excited for it after this. The land-based thing aside, I'm still very much excited for this, and I think overall this is a stream that people should really like. This is a blueprint of how you should reveal and show a game to people.
The only other thing that I'm really thinking about too is this game really needs to be in tip-top shape and condition whenever it launches, because they've delayed it so many times, restarted so many times, and now we've gotten a show of it, and now there's some, I don't know if hype is the right word.
There's definitely a swell. There's definitely a swell.
It's just weird. I don't know if it's one of those things, if it's what they showed or the fact that the game does exist and it's going to come out. But they can't really do too much in the way of a delay or pushback or anything. Because, I mean, I'm already astounded that financially they think that there's a way to launch this game and at least recoup costs.
Well, in fairness, if this is a live service game and it is popular and it has legs,
they will have opportunity for sure.
Right, they will recoup their cost. I mean, you look at Destiny 2. That came out in what? 2015, 2016, something like that, right?
Jesus, yeah, something like that.
It still has a player base to this day, a big player base. So like if you can create one of those games and it hits, then you have money. You have money indefinitely for a long period of time. The question, though, is that you also look at some failures stories like Babylon's Fall and like Marvel's Avengers, where like it didn't hit and it ain't looking good for them. You know what I mean? So it really depends on how much Ubisoft is willing to commit to this, how upfront they've been, and whether or not it bites into a player base. I think it's got a good chance just because there's really nothing like this out there, in my opinion. The only other like real pirate game from a AAA studio is Sea of Thieves, and that's a very different bag. Like, I didn't bring it up much in this just because even though it's the only real game to compare this to, they're not comparable. Sea of Thieves is a completely different animal than this, even though they're both live as service games. This is just a different beast. So we'll have to see what this comes out with. I am excited, obviously. And yeah, November 8th. I don't think there's any way they push this back at this point. I think the game
can't.
I think the game's in the condition it's in and it's gonna get released. So all right. That being said, you want to get into odds and ends, or do you have anything else to add to Skull and Bones?
No, that was it.
All right, let's get into the beast of odds and ends.
Yeah.
That is.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Odds and Ends, our last segment for the show. It's going to be a doozy because Neil took off last week. And yeah, he says he has 9, so we'll have to see. We'll have to see what that final number ends up coming out to be. But I'm going to go ahead and do mine first, just to see if those mark off. But these are smaller news stories that we collect over the week or 2 weeks to basically tell you guys about that don't necessarily deserve a full talking point that we just want to talk about. So I'm going to do my first 2 are quick and easy ones. One of them's sad, one of them's happy. First one's sad. Red Dead is dead. Red Dead Online is dead. It's official. Rockstar made a comment basically saying that they are moving all their like considerable producing power onto GTA 6. There will be no more substantial updates for Red Dead Online, so they've heard you and they don't care. Even though it had a player base, even though it was making them money, they just decided to say, fuck everybody, and dropped it. So
been dead for a while, though, from what it sounds like. I mean, not from
Well,
players,
you know,
but
from them. So you would think that like the Save Red Dead Online would have had any effect. Nope, nothing whatsoever. They never even responded to it. Nothing. So hashtag Red Dead Online is dead. Hashtag boycott Rockstar. Fuck those guys, man. Fuck those guys. I personally am not interested in GTA 6, especially if in any way, shape, or form I end up getting treated that way again as a player. No, I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want anything to do with it. You create 2 games. It takes you fucking 37 years to create each one. When you do create them, if you just keep re-releasing them or you drop them like bad fucking whatever, then you've got your remakes that are absolute nightmare shits, and then you're delisting all the old ones. So fuck Rockstar, man. I don't think Rockstar has anything to offer me anymore as a player, personally.
yeah, I thought I saw an article too, something about like the player base is actually having a funeral for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are. It's real sad. It's a real sad thing. It was a great game, and they just fucking quit on it. Never really put anything into it. All right, the other one, good thing. Fall Guys, since switching to free to play, has shot back up to 50 million players as a player base. And you know, Fall Guys is fun, man. I have a good time with Fall Guys. It's never a game. It's never like my first pick. Sometimes it's like I'll drop in and play a game, and then it'll be like 3 hours later. You know, like it's one of those that like once you play it once, it kind of gets its hooks into you. You know, and you get stuck into it.
I've been meaning to give that game a shot.
It's worth it.
I remember back when it first came out, it was one of those things that I was intrigued. I just never got around to giving it a shot. And now it's like fucking everywhere.
Dude, it has crossplay. You, me, and Kayla should do a stream playing it as a team.
Oh, man.
That would be hilarious. We need to possibly work that out. I had Melissa play it for Prelude, where audio isn't super great, but yeah, it's hysterical. Like that game is so much fun, and it's like I said, it's not anything that's gonna like keep me up at night thinking about the next match, but it's definitely one that like when you play the first one, you end up playing it for like 3 straight hours, and it's always fun. It's a good game. It's a good quality games as a service product, I think. All right, so those are my 2 easy ones. My next 2. I want to give credit to another podcast/YouTube channel that most certainly does not watch this and most certainly has never heard of us. But nonetheless, there is this channel, you can search for it on YouTube, called Hoeg Law, Hoeg Law, okay? So he also does a podcast for this. My wife, who is a paralegal, as you all know, her main source of like YouTube entertainment are law stuff. She's very into law. She loves law. I mean, she's paralegal. That's her thing. So she listens to like Emily D. Baker and a bunch of other ones. She's very into the whole herd depth thing and all that stuff. That being said, one of the people she came across was this thing called Hoeg Law, and he does a show called Virtual Legality, where he takes like video game or digital like big law stories and breaks them down, the actual filings, the actual legal proceedings, because that's all public record. It's all public record. A lot of people don't realize that. Anything that happens in a court of law, you can look up and just read. Like, it's public record. So he'll get them, and then he'll read them, and he'll give his thoughts on them because he's actually a corporate lawyer who likes to game. So I've been listening to his stuff. He's very interesting, very cool dude. Some of his shows get a little long, but a lot of them are only like 26 to 40 minutes, and it's just him taking a thing and breaking it down. So, first one I want to talk about, because we've actually discussed this a little bit on the show. I found it very interesting, and it was the whole DMC takedown thing with Destiny.
Okay.
Quick refresher course. A bunch of YouTubers, Destiny YouTubers, got false copyright claims and copyright strikes against them. Some of them actually getting their accounts blacked out or taken down because of these. And what ended up happening was it exposed this faulty system from YouTube, where basically if you got an email address that was close enough to the email address of the people who actually send the copyright strikes to YouTube, you could just send them copyright strikes. as the company. So somebody had figured out what Bungie's email address, whatever their copy, because the companies themselves don't do the copyright strikes. They have companies do that shit for them. Whatever the company that manages Bungie's copyright strikes was, somebody figured out what the email address was, copied it close enough, and started sending false copyright strikes to YouTube. And YouTube did what they do and took down the channels falsely, which is really interesting because Bungie was then like, well, this is bullshit. Renew their stuff. And they're like, we can't renew their stuff. We took it down because you told us to take it down. And they're like, it's a false email account. We're Bungie, so that they have no process for like whitelisting things again after you've blacklisted it. Okay. So they sued YouTube, okay, without the expectation that it would ever go to court. They sued them for discovery, which is this process where when you sue somebody, they have to give you all the relevant evidence to you and your lawyers, and you, vice versa, have to do it for them. So basically, they sued them with only the intent of getting from them the information on who did this shit in the first place. Turns out it's this guy named Lord Nazakin. I think his name in real life is like Nicholas Miller or something like that. So this guy gets a copyright strike, right, for posting Destiny music. Okay, he was a Destiny YouTuber forever, 8 years. He would post the music on his channel. Destiny changed their terms of service and said, you can't post our music anymore because that's kind of like on the composers. He posted it anyway. They gave him a strike. He then reposted it, so they took his channel down. So here's what he decided to do. He decided to fake as Bungie and start copyright striking his friends, right? Not just his friends, but any Destiny YouTuber, with the hopes that Bungie would lump him in with them when they started whitelisting things for the copyright strikes. To the point where he would go on to Reddit, the Reddits where the other Destiny streamers are talking about this, and chime in like, yeah, mine got canceled too. This is crazy. What are we going to do about this? Like, that sort of thing. Like, the Hogue Law guy uses the word Machiavellian multiple times throughout the whole description of this. That was his master plan, was that he was going to get his whitelisted by getting everybody blacklisted, and then they would just whitelist all the people again, and he would end up getting whitelisted again for it.
What in the absolute shit? That's some like 3D chess shit.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy, super evil, weird stuff. But yeah. So that's what's going on now. Bungie is suing him for that, because obviously YouTube gave discovery. Bungie rescinded their lawsuit and then went after this guy. But it's just kind of crazy because all the stuff is coming out about like what he did, because it's all in the filing, and like he would go on to Reddit. What was even more interesting about it is the Hogue Law guy was actually like, I talked to this dude. I was in those Reddits. I play Destiny, and I'm interested in this situation. I'm not a Destiny streamer, but I was talking to people about this. This is one of the guys that talked to me about it. Like, crazy stuff.
Weird.
Right? Okay, so that's that one. The other one he talked about is very interesting, and that is PlayStation has decided, I don't remember the certain date, but soon, you will not be able to watch movies you have purchased on PlayStation. Yes. There's the Studio Canal movies. Their agreement has ended. Sony told everybody they weren't going to let people buy on their thing anymore. And then Studio Canal has basically said, basically they're slowly getting rid of this service, and that means you're losing the right to watch these movies, which is a huge problem for a lot of people. It is. And this is what I have been saying for a long time. Look, I'm a digital content consumer, all right? I'm on PC now. I buy my games from a digital storefront. Here's the thing, though. We've said this multiple times, and a lot of people still don't understand it. And you don't understand it not because it's your fault, because the people who offer this content lie to you on a regular basis. And if there is any regulation that should be handed down on digital storefronts and stuff before loot boxes, before microtransaction, I'm going to tell you right now, they should stop being allowed to put a buy button on digital stuff. They should stop calling it a storefront. No more purchased. It should stay license right, and it should be licensed storefront or license front, something like that. Because you don't purchase these things. You purchase a right to view it on their server from their computers. Okay? When you purchase something on Amazon to watch digitally, you don't own it. Unless you can download it to something, which if you can download it to something, volley on you. Like actually onto your computer, because then you could watch it later. But if you're watching it on Amazon or on whatever service you paid for it on, or you're playing a game on Steam or Epic, you don't own those things. You are paying for the right to consume it as long as they offer it to you. And every one of those little license things that you have to check I accept for after like 7 pages of stuff, that's what it says. Okay? And that is a huge problem for a lot of people. And this is the first like really evidence of somebody doing this to you, other than potentially Google Stadia. But
it's coming for Stadia.
It's coming. They haven't announced it yet. This is the first one that's like straight up announced. So like if you bought a Studio Canal movie through the PlayStation's Sony store, after a certain date, doesn't matter. It's gone, and they're not paying you a cent. That's bullshit. And I'll tell you why that's bullshit. Because the button didn't say license. The button didn't say rent for an indeterminate amount of time. The button said buy. The button said purchase. That shit, to me, should be illegal. Because that's false advertising, and it's kind of fraud in a way, in my opinion.
Now, if I do remember correctly, with this, it's currently only in 2 other countries, but that's only right here and now, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's something that's going to be spreading across, but I mean, regardless of that exact instance or not, it's a harsh reminder that when you buy something digitally, you are not purchasing the item. Right. Everything that you are paying for is strictly just a license, a hall pass to access that. Yes. And at any given point, it can be revoked.
And my problem here isn't even that service, because if that's the service you're offering, fine, put it out there, we'll pay for it. My problem is the way it's presented to the people, which it is not presented in a way that you can be revoked. It's not presented in a way that it's ever going to go away. It's presented in a way that you own it. And you don't own anything you buy on digital. Look, I like convenience. So when I buy a lot of digital stuff now because I don't want to go to a store. And hell, what's interesting about this is a lot of these tech companies who are behind digital storefronts have gone out of their way to remove those technologies from your life. DVD players and other things, they don't exist. You've got a Fire Stick. You've got, digital things. The TV itself, our TV upstairs does everything right now. I don't have to plug anything into it. I download an app to my TV and it does it. Smart TVs. Your PCs, everything. They take away the CD players. They take away the DVD players. Now that those things are gone, the Blu-ray players, now that those things are gone, and they say, hey, it's easier, it's better for space. And it is. I'm not arguing that. But they've done that so that they can now have all the control over this without any of the recourse. They're not telling you up front that you're not actually purchasing these things. That's the thing that irritates me the most. I don't mind. I knew full well when I bought a PC, it wasn't going to have a CD drive. I knew full well I was going to be buying from a digital storefront. I knew that going in. I was willing to do that because I informed myself. But still, all of these companies, they don't properly inform people who don't educate themselves, Even Steam, I like Steam as a company mostly. Steam's buttons say purchase. They say buy, they say purchase, they say gifts. That's the language they use. Epic Store, all of them do it. Microsoft Store, that shit should be illegal. Just that buy button should be illegal if you're not owning it forever,
Exactly. That's part of the reason I've been hesitant to digital platforms for getting stuff. But I mean, as you said, eventually it's going to get to the point.
Right.
We've talked about this before. I don't know if necessarily the next console generation that comes out, but the one after that,
I don't even think we're going to get another console generation, like a full console generation, personally.
I don't know. Yeah.
I think we're already talking about putting Xbox on TV. Like, what the fuck is the point at that point of buying some box that you can't get because there aren't enough chips or whatever? Like, I mean, I don't foresee. We're so far removed from, even right now, even the mentality of console generations that, like, what's the next console going to look like? You know?
Right.
It's another reason I think Sony is hurting, because they're out of touch and they still think that, like, that's the way to go. I think it's been long removed from the way to go, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, so that's all of mine, man. That's all of mine.
All right. Well, I can get through some of these pretty quick here.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get into it.
So, gonna start off with wish listy one of mine personally. Apparently the mill is churning yet again. Industry insider Jeff Grubb has said that Nintendo plans to launch the Metroid Prime trilogy for the Switch in November, starting with the very first Metroid Prime game and having the other ones following afterwards as like additional download release situations.
Okay.
I can only hope. I've given up hope on that though. Because it has been talked about for so long. I don't think it's a real thing. That also said, if they were going to do it, the time is now. Riding high off of Metroid Dread's success and priming us, so to speak, for Metroid Prime 4. So I don't know. I don't know if it's actually going to happen, but
I kind of feel like Nintendo needs a little bit of a win this year. While
Nintendo needs something this year.
Yeah, while they're not necessarily floundering by any means, I still think they're a very viable system option. They really haven't released, other than Kirby, they haven't really released any great, boot kickers of games. And on top of that, they've got a lot of negative stuff coming out about their company practices too. So, like, I feel like they could really use some public relations goodwill. So releasing Metroid Prime Collection would be that goodwill, I think.
Yeah, especially given the fact, like, the back half of this year, outside of Splatoon 3, there's nothing.
There's nothing.
Because the untitled Breath of the Wild sequel was supposed to come out this year.
I mean, let's face it, their Xbox, they're basically their E3 show was one game, Xenoblade Chronicles. Like, that was it.
Of all of them, we have to have a Nintendo Direct at some point coming up here soon. I just hope. Yeah. I hope it is this next Nintendo Direct, whatever it is that they do, whenever they do it, is basically going to set the tone for the rest of Nintendo's year this year. And I mean, like you said, outside of basically Kirby, they haven't really had much.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only used my Switch for playing Stardew Valley constantly. Like, that's about it.
My kid is really into WarioWare, like crazy into that game.
Yeah. WarioWare's got its place, but I mean, still, who is like, man, let's go buy a Nintendo Switch for WarioWare?
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I haven't played it for any reason. Like, it's been all Stella. First game she's ever beaten, though. She beat WarioWare with me.
Oh, that's
cool. We actually beat it, which blew my mind.
So moving on, Niantic is not doing very well. The Pokemon Go company. They've apparently canceled a ton of projects, as well as laid off a bunch of staff in effort to streamline operations. They had some Harry Potter game. I don't know if it is out or is coming out.
It was out and died.
It was out.
Then it came out and died.
We had that one Pokemon Go summer, and that was about it. Like, everyone else is still. Some people still playing it, but
yeah, I think Pokemon Go is still the only thing that's kind of like their winner. I think the big problem here is, I think the big problem here is Pokemon Go hit big, and they've been trying to hit that exact same game with other licensed products since, and haven't.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem. I think there was 2 other games that they were attempting with the AR virtual reality stuff, and like that's fine. Obviously, that's the thing you do, but the problem is I don't know. I never played any of the other ones. I have played Pokemon Go with my daughter too. But like, I think that game is the only game, and every time they were like, "Oh, we're doing it. We're gonna set the genre for AR," and then everybody was like, "No, we just like the Pokemon one," and then from that point on, we haven't gone anywhere. You know?
No, not at all.
Oh.
So July 11th, tomorrow, as we are recording this, it will have already begun at this point through July 22nd. Halo Infinite is apparently running a campaign co-op beta. So they're long spoken about co-op campaign stuff.
It's almost a full year late at this point, right?
Yeah. It does have one big caveat to it, which this is kind of weird to me. I don't know why they chose to go this route. So you remember when we were playing through Halo, if you get too far from the other one, you just kind of teleport over.
Yeah, I hated
like
it.
the mystical magical teleport. Obviously, in a giant open world game, they may not want to do that, but for some reason, they're opting to give your Spartan a countdown till death, basically.
What?
Yeah. If you get too
far away, you die?
A death countdown starts. Yeah, and if you get too far away for too long, you'll die.
That's fucking ridiculous, man.
Why?
Because how would you know how far to get away? Why not just drag them? Why not just tether them?
And what's very interesting is
that's stupid.
There's no mention as to how it works, because, you know, with playing through the main games, it's linear, you know,
right?
It's based off of who is progressing. So whoever's lagging behind teleports up to the other one.
Right.
This is a big ass open world game with no direction.
Yeah.
What, do you both die? Do you like say, hey, head back this way? I find that very interesting.
That's ridiculous.
So yeah, we will see how that turns out. I'm sure it's going to not go well.
That is ridiculous. Okay, in modern gaming, that is ridiculous. There are plenty of games that still use tether. State of Decay 2 does, but it just tethers you there. Well, kill them? That's the stupidest thing ever, because how would you possibly know how? You couldn't possibly keep in your mind like, oh, I'm 14 in-game feet away. I'm about to die. Like, that's stupid. That's beyond stupid, especially in an open world game where you can get launched all over the place. But the guy just gets launched too far away, and you can't get around a mountain to him. Like, you die? That's the answer to that? Oh.
As somebody who, while I've been playing that game, climb up a very tall mountain and do everything in my power to leap off of it and just like fly as far away as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the parameters are for that.
That's dumb.
Especially too, like, you can only run so fast, and if you're good enough, you can Spider-Man from treetops with the cable, and you know, you can just kill somebody who is not as adept at swinging around as you are.
Yeah, you know, I haven't gotten to say it in a while. Boycott Halo.
So next. So apparently a Nintendo fan spent 5.6 million yen, which translates to about $40,000 US on Nintendo stock, basically just to ask Nintendo why they haven't made a new Zero game.
I heard about this. I heard about this.
I'm glad somebody else did it and asked that question and not me.
What did they say? Do we know what they said?
I didn't write that part down, but it was very much like, we understand there's an appetite for older franchises, but we also are working on, you know, many projects currently, and when the time is right, we'll revisit those. Basically, we don't want to do it. That's not going to make enough money for us. We want to make all the money right now.
I don't understand that mentality. It's the same with Konami. I don't understand why especially in this day and age where third-party developers are so prevalent, why you wouldn't just like go, hey, such and such developer company, do you want to do the next F-Zero game and license it out? You know, as long as you put in the contract, you get final say of what gets released. Like, what's the big risk there? Because if they produce a game, you make money on it. You know, like I don't understand why they don't do that more. Same with Konami and Castlevania. Like, just license it out to like some other company that wants to do something with it. Why keep it in your back pocket when you could be making money on it? I don't understand.
Yeah, I have no idea either, especially given the fact there's been so much appetite for it.
Yeah.
I mean, for shit's sake, the Mario Kart 8 has gravity-defying tracks. It has Mute City and Big Blue from F-Zero in it.
Right.
Why not?
Right.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't understand the idea of keeping a franchise just dead that's wanted. Like, I get it if you let it go and nobody asks for it back. Like, I don't think there's a ton of people asking for a new Space Harrier game, but like there's obviously a ton of people asking for F-Zero. There's a ton of people asking for Castlevania. What's the point in not trying to find a company that'll make that game for you, you know?
Exactly.
I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
So moving on here, Google Stadia is actually expanding. The service will be available in Mexico soon. It's the first actual regional expansion since 2020. Why now? Why now in the back half of 2022 are they like, you know what? This is it, guys. The Mexican market. That's what we've been missing this whole time.
It. Somebody ran some numbers somewhere and said, Mexico, let's do it, you know? I don't know.
All right. So starting in October, Xbox 360 games are not going to be a part of the games with gold on Xbox anymore.
That's all right. I mean, they've done them all, right? Like every fucking one of them.
You wait till you hear the back
it's
half.
Not right.
Yeah, wait till you hear the back half.
Okay.
Any game that was redeemed via the program cannot be re-downloaded for free after that point.
So download them now.
Yep. If you do not currently have it on your hard drive, you will not have it. And if you delete it afterwards, you cannot re-download it, even if you still held on to it after they stopped.
Ugh. This bothers me a little bit now because this is a company that lots its backwards compatibility. Like that is the platform that they. This is my problem here. That was the whole thing. Sony was all about the next thing, the new thing. Xbox was all about backwards compatibility. That was the mentality that I like so much about them. And now it's like flip-flopped. It's ridiculous. Like,
yeah.
Why? What's the harm in leaving this service available for people who want to download those games? That's ridiculous.
It's bizarre.
That's
bizarre. I get it not offering the Xbox 360 games.
I get that. Yeah.
It was just a matter of time. I mean, I cannot remember the last time I even tried to see what the free games were, let alone actively try and download them. So had them.
And they've gone through all the popular ones. They're in things like that were like mobile games that got moved over, you know, like they're
right.
None of them are anything anybody would ever consider really wanting. So I get that part. It's just the fact that you can't re-download them is
ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. The real question is, are they all going away? Like not for you to buy, not for you to play if you've got them downloaded, but like, are they all getting delisted, or are they still going to allow you to buy them? Because if they still allowed you to buy them and you already got them through Games with Gold, that's real bullshit.
Even worse. Yeah.
That's even worse because that's like, oh, you didn't download it by this point? Well, now you got to pay for it. Even though technically having Games with Gold was you paying for it. Like, that would be some shit. Yeah, they haven't officially said anything in that regard.
so we will see. But
we'll have to see.
yeah. So I only have 3 left. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Okay.
Sony has apparently secured a patent for something called What If. So it could show you hypotheticals and replays. So basically, like if you get killed in a first-person shooter, it could theoretically show you if you went in this doorway instead of this doorway, or turned left instead of right, this could have happened to you.
Okay.
That's kind of cool. I like that idea.
I don't hate that. That's cool.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. It's creepy, the amount of I guess AI learning and data that's being collected. If you really zoom the lens out and think about that, they have gathered enough user data to predict the future in
I know
games.
everything this guy is gonna do because he plays too much Call of Duty. Like, yeah, that's weird. That's weird to think of.
The next one is, I mean, there's. We've said so much about this one. I don't know if there's really anything else to really say about it. Apparently, E3 is officially returning in 2023.
They said that already. They said that it would be a live show and a digital show. We already did talk about this.
We did?
Yeah, we talked about it a couple shows ago.
Why did it came through as a new article on the...
I'm not sure, but we definitely talked about it a few weeks ago, and we said then, I don't know why. I don't know what they're thinking or why anybody would go to E3, would spend the hundreds of millions of dollars you have to spend to have a conference there when you could just do a conference and control your own narrative, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, I mean, there wasn't anything else to add to that.
Yeah.
Like I said, we talked about it so much.
Yeah.
Whatever. So my last one here, this one's got a little bit of a tail on it here. And honestly, this is what I would have elected for us to have as a main talking point last week.
Okay.
So God of War. God of War.
I know where we're going now.
So God of War was originally rumored to be announced on the 30th of June. There was some like cryptic thing with an image of Kratos smiling with the binary number of 30 being posted online. Everybody lost their shit. Oh my God, God of Ragnarok. Oh, it's coming. It's coming. It's going to be announced on the 30th. That date came and went with nothing. And the fan base got kerfuckled about it. So much so that death threats started flying and the usual stupid fuckery. Corey Balrog himself had to get on Twitter and basically say, in a very polite and nice way, you guys need to chill the fuck out. They had said that the announcement was being delayed because of something with the collector's edition. Which I'm very curious as to what that was supposed to mean. I, tinfoil hat, think that they delayed it because the fan base got so crazy riled up, and they're like, you know what, we're just not going to do it on this day because everybody was losing their fucking shit about it. I don't know what this new trend of I expect a game to be announced or come out on this date, and I'm just so hyped for it, I'm going to threaten lives is.
Okay.
But it needs to chill. But it has, since that all transpired, been officially announced with a 31-second trailer, which is
a blog post, right?
Basically, it was a blog post and a 31-second trailer that was not even gameplay. It was just kind of whatever. They have chosen, well, I guess it's more so Skull and Bones has chosen to launch the day before God of War, which that's unfortunate. I think they're different player bases, but of all the things that Skull and Bones needs, it's a good release window. But they have since announced the collector's edition of the game, and it's got all this, crazy shit. There's a Mjolnir in there. They've got like tabletop gaming dice, music, and everything. But we're getting a little ridiculous on these collector's editions as well, because
Okay.
it comes with a copy of the game, and it comes with a steel book for the game, and
Hey, I lost your
so
audio there for a second. Comes with a steel book for the game.
it comes with a steel book for the game. It comes with the game, but the version of the game you get is digital only. So you get a steel book that will hold a disc that you do not have.
Okay. So let's talk about this. First of all, Skull and Bones isn't worried because God of War is not coming out on November 9th. I can assure you of that. I will put money down that it is not coming out on November 9th. I'll do a pizza bet. We have seen absolutely no gameplay footage of this. The last time a game tried to say it was coming out 6 months later without any gameplay footage, it fucking delayed inevitably. That's Starfield. This game is not coming out on November 9th. It's just not. There's no way. There's no unearthly way that a game with literally no gameplay footage, no trailer, no nothing, a 31-second cinematic trailer is coming out. Fucking what? 5 months from now? No.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, the first trailer they put out, was a bit more extensive, and it did have some brief snippets of gameplay, but I would have expected some more solid gameplay and more than just a 30-second, hey, the game is coming out, here's the date.
Yeah.
This close to release.
This game is coming out in February. Okay, I don't know what anybody else thinks. It's coming out February next year, if that. It is not coming out on November 9th. There's no way. And if it does, it's going to be a busted-ass shit game. And the other thing is, I think Skull and Bones is a very different type of game from God of War. I think that the Skull and Bones people are like people who are saving their money to buy God of War over ours are probably never going to buy ours anyway. So, like, I think that, like, that's a very different genre. I mean, obviously there's competition anytime you have stuff like that, but I don't think these games fall into the same bracket. It's not like when you had Horizon Zero Dawn and Breath of the Wild there, both huge open world, crafty sort of games like that. No. You've got an open world pirate game as service versus a narrative driven Viking RPG. I don't think that those games are really gonna eat into each other's markets, personally. As far as the collector's edition stuff, it's complete fucking bullshit. Why would you sell a steelbook without a fucking game? That's ridiculous. Like, don't sell a steelbook then. Like, what are you doing? Like, God, who would buy a case without a thing? Like, that's ridiculous. That's like having a protective case for your phone and not having a phone. It's just dumb.
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah, it's fucking dumb, man.
I'm not sure what the end game for that is, or what even made them think, hey, you know what's a good idea? Like, it's exactly like you said. Like, it's a container for a thing that you aren't going to have. Unless they think that people who are buying the collector's edition are also buying a physical day one disc version.
Look, and this collectible nonsense has just got to go, man. It's just, I'm sorry. I'm probably going to get some heat on this. I don't have any problem with people collecting things. I collect things. I have collected multiple things over the course of my life. I'm not saying that. But this idea that you need to spend $100 fucking for a toy with your game is fucking insane to me. Like, that's just insane, man. That's just insane. Buy the game, don't buy the game. But when everybody goes out there to spend like fucking $200 for a bag of dice and shit, this is why they do this shit. This is why they do this. This is why they make this shit. This is why they're like, well, we could sell this game for $60, or we could sell this game for $300, and a bunch of nimrods will crawl over each other to get to it if we throw in a bag of dice. Like, it's fucking insane to me. If you're a collector, I get the collector mentality. I do. But you don't need to collect this. You just don't need to collect this at these prices. You don't. I mean, especially since they always make too much. The price always drops on the collector sites anyway. Just wait and get the collector's item later. And if you if you need to collect toys, just go buy some toys. Like, there's plenty of toys out there, good quality toys that you can purchase for way less than that. I hate this whole collector's edition shit. It just drives me nuts. I paid extra for a collector's edition once on Borderlands 2, and it was one of the biggest mistakes I made. Like, it's just biggest mistakes. I got like a fucking bobblehead and an art book, and then I didn't even get the DLC, the first DLC. I was like, how was that not included in the fucking collector's edition? I hate the collector's edition nonsense. Don't buy that shit. Anybody out there, don't buy that shit. You don't need that shit. Nobody needs that shit.
It depends. I have 2 collector's editions of games. And honestly, if I had to rate them, my number 2 between them is my collector's edition of Kingdom Hearts 3. It had the whole steel book, everything, this, that, and the other. But I mean, it didn't really have anything. It didn't come with the DLC, like you had just mentioned about. It didn't come with the DLC. It had an art book, and it had like this extra like handwritten letter from Tetsuya Nomura, whatever. I mean, it wasn't handwritten, but it was like a foreword for the game or whatever.
Right.
So I mean that's like, I'm a fan of this thing and I really like it. I'll spend an extra $30 on some of the cool shit. But I also got as a gift from Kayla this very limited run of Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition collectors. It's a collector's edition of it.
Okay.
It's a giant velvet chest that has the entire soundtrack for all of the Street Fighter games, a 10-inch resin statue of Ryu doing a Shoryuken, along with a real-life replica of his belt, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, Street Fighter 4 with all of the DLCs, as well as all of the animated Street Fighter movies, and a certificate of authentication, because they only made like 6,000 of these things.
Okay. I'm going to say it now. I don't understand how we're friends sometimes. I don't understand what we're doing here. Like, I don't get that. I don't get anything about that. Personally, to me, the collector thing is, are you collecting games or are you collecting toys? Why am I getting a toy with my game? I'll just go buy toys. And the idea that, like, a belt is part of it, like, the soundtrack stuff, okay, I get that. I would pay a little bit extra to get a soundtrack on certain games because I actually like video game scores and music. I really enjoy them. Some of my most listened to stuff is like Streets of Rage 4 and Skyrim. I enjoy those soundtracks, and they're really good for thinking too. Fucking 10-inch statue and authentication and all that, it's fucking dumb. It's dumb, and it causes these problems where now it's like, the thing that you should be getting in a collector's edition is the DLC, like, first and foremost.
Well, like I said, it came with like 3 entire games and all of.
Well, and that was the Street Fighter one, but the Kingdom Hearts one.
Oh, the Kingdom Hearts one, yeah, I had to spend.
That's what I'm saying.
$30.
And like, I understand
$80 version of the game I had already paid for.
Right, and I understand like spending a lot of extra money to collect a game that's hard to get. I understand that collector's mentality. I do not understand the idea that I have to spend an extra $70 to get a fucking statue with my video game. I'll take heat. I don't care. It's dumb. I don't like it. It's stupid. And I hate that. I hate that half my news stories in IGN is like pre-order bonuses for shit. I see more toys on my video game website than I see video games. It's annoying and obnoxious, and I don't like it. And I think it's gitches. It's just gitches.
But after that long list, that was it. That was everything I had.
Okay. All right. Well, let's plug this thing and be done then.
Yes.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right. So that brings us to the end of the show and the shameless self-promotion that comes with it. Anything special you want to promote there, Neil?
Well, I mean, I guess it's kind of like an anti-plug, if that's the case. Even though I was off last week, impromptu day off last week, I actually will not be on next week because I'm gonna get to go see some good old American destruction and watch some cars plow into each other at fair. So that's what I will be doing next Sunday.
Well, I like how even though off camera we were
wait, that's
talking
right. We
about
had a
potentially
conversation to try to
scheduling a
make-
different time to
I
record,
forgot
you've
about
just
that
now
already.
decided to announce to them
forgot
before
about that.
me that you're not going to be on the show.
Oh shit! No, well, I might be. I might be then.
Fuck?
We aren't going to be recording on Sunday. Let me
Neil,
revise
I
that.
mean this with all
Somebody
due respect. You suck sometimes.
Hey,
what are you doing?
I'm not going to take any offense to that. I will willingly and openly admit that I fucking suck. All right. Well, then let me a little addendum. I might not be here next week. Let's put it
we
that
don't know.
way.
We don't know. We'll figure it out.
It's a mystery.
We'll figure it
Maybe
out.
Zach will kill me before then. Who knows?
Phil did a great job last week. Great job.
He did. And
thank
you again, Phil, last week for allowing me to have the time to watch not only the original Top Gun, but Top Gun Maverick as well.
Okay, so plugs. I do want to say July 16th, our first episode of the live stream, our live play of the game, tabletop game that I'm publishing will be going up. I am going to put it up on Axiom Games YouTube channel. I am also going to put it up here. Probably the day after, like 17th or 18th, just so you guys know. Probably Monday. It'll probably be here on the 18th on this channel. If you want to watch it on the day it comes out, go to Axiom Games. It's a lot of fun. Neil's part of it. But I am publishing, if you've been listening to the show, you know, I'm publishing my first tabletop role-playing game as part of my gaming company with Mr. Mark Bell, called Axiom Games. It's called Upper Hand Wrestling RPG. We've got a few players. Philbilly's in it. And Neil's in it. His lovely wife is taking part, as well as another friend of ours named Jay. So it's a lot of fun. I hope you guys check it out. I hope it's not too jank for your tastes. It's a little jank, but other than that, got some fresh Stella shows going up. Those will probably switch to Thursdays, just so you guys know, because they'll probably stay on Saturdays. But they're going up on Saturdays. My wife played Fall Guys for Prelude. That's a lot of fun. Audio's a little crappy, but it's a lot of fun. Please check that out. For streams, as usual, still doing the Grounded breakfast. We're doing breakfast streams right now until school kicks in. 8 a.m. on Tuesdays, I play Grounded with a friend of mine. Then, of course, Amateur Hour going through Shredder's Revenge Tuesday nights. And then Wednesday mornings, 8 a.m., we have switched off Skyrim. Finally gave Skyrim a break. Going to WWE 2K22 GM mode. And that is a lot of fun to play. So please come check that out. All right, everybody. Other than that, you guys can reach us on Facebook at OmegaGamingDH, on Twitter at OmegaGaming9. You can join our Discord. Link is in the description below. You can influence us in all of our shows from there. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as long as you keep watching, listen, we'll keep making them. See you guys next time. All right, we are done. No. It's Thor and Marvel movies as a whole. With the exception of a few outliers, they're all comedy movies. Ever since there was one of them that I'm thinking of, but one of them, like real early on, they just all became comedies. They all became funny haha movies, and I can't deal with that. Like one or two comedies, fine, especially when you take Thor, who is a very serious character in the comics, who was a very serious player in the comics, and just turn him into a fucking punchline. And even Taika, and I like Taika Waititi. I like him. I like him as a director. I like a lot of his stuff, but I don't like what he did to Thor and he even said, I made a Thor movie that wasn't necessarily for Thor fans. Okay, well then maybe you shouldn't be making a Thor movie. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure all the jokes are funny, but like, I don't want that from my Thor movie. That's
exactly what it is. Yeah.
I actually liked the first two movies better. They weren't better movies on a whole, because they didn't accomplish enough, but they portrayed Thor better than these movies did, even though they were worse movies. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. Like, it's
the tone of the character too, because like it was fine whenever Thor was the serious guy and he was like, quote unquote, inadvertently making jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was fine, but like now his character is straight up just like constant. The first 10 minutes of the movie where they're doing the whole thing that you see in the trailers with the Guardians and everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Like there was a couple people in the theater, like Kayla was laughing too. I'm like, all right, come on. Like they did the old tried and true bit of trying to defend something that is very fragile and destroy it to destroy whatever's going on and it crumbling in the background.
Right.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, they've been doing the same bits for a long time now. And that's another thing. The entirety of the Guardians of the Galaxy are in this movie. Like, and I'm sure there's other characters from other movies in there. And it's just, I'm so sick of that in Marvel movies. Like, none of them, like, the Doctor Strange movie had 3 other characters. This one's got, like, an entire other superhero team. Like, they don't have their own storylines anymore. Like, I can't just watch a Thor movie. I have to watch the Thor movie so I know what's going on in Guardians. And I have to watch the Guardians movie to know what's going on in Thor. And I can't do that shit anymore. I just can't. That's why I walked away after the last Avengers game. Just because I was like, hey, that's it. That's the end of the story. I'm good. I can walk away from this from here on out, you know?